We'll call the meeting to order. What time is it? 6:35?
6:35, yeah.
Okay. Write that down.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Secretary, write that down.
No.
Okay.
A lefty. Did I know that?
Oh, yeah, Southpaw.
All of them in the family. Him, a son, a daughter. I'm the only righty in the family.
Wow.
I know. Go figure. Okay, so the first order of business.
We'd have to ask you to speak, make sure you speak up.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. First order of business on the agenda is to review and approve the meetings of our last meeting, which was May 12th, 2022. So they're in front of you. Everything looks good. I think I sent it out to everyone anyway.
Yep.
And actually, Laurie Reed has a copy of them, and I think they've been posted already. Kind of, yep, a little bit backwards there, but they're posted, and assuming everything was right.
Was did she post these or the November 16th?
She posted, no, she
posted the May 12th.
Yeah, the May
Okay.
12th meeting.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess I motion to accept the minutes.
We need a second.
Second it.
Okay.
Call
Okay.
for a vote, John.
You call for a vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
All those in
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay. And then second point is to officially welcome Nancy and Jonathan. We're thrilled to have both of you. And hope you'll be happy to serve with us. It's kind of a fun thing.
It is.
It really is, you know.
Yep.
And we're saying goodbye, sort of, to our chairman of the last 5 years? 6 years?
How
6
time
years.
flies.
2 terms, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be
2
6
terms,
years.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, we started in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2017.
but you
sorry.
filled,
I
your
think I
first...
finished off one
Yeah.
term and then served another full term.
It seems like in 17, everybody dropped off this horizon. No one wanted to be on the cultural council, and
I think there was one person left. They didn't have a
they never
quorum.
came to the meeting. You know? So we started, the 3 of us, Sarah, and one other girl, kind of
Megan.
just thrown into the mess. We had no idea what we were doing. We had volumes we were fishing through to find out. But we got through it. We managed, and we're still here. But unfortunately, our terms will be up next year, as we found out from Laurie Reed, who checked into the law, and you can only serve 6 years. Even so, we fulfilled 1 year of a term, then we did 3 years of another term, and signed up for 3 years last year.
But we can only do 2 years.
But we can only,
Yep.
do.
She said she found a
23.
loophole.
Is
Yeah.
this 2 years, you're finished as a board member or as an officer?
As a member
As a
of the
member,
board.
period.
A board member?
Yeah,
Okay.
so technically in 2023, Lori,
It's time
Sarah.
for us to head for
And
the
I-
door.
No pressure, right?
Yeah, no pressure at all, so,
So,
Except,
Lori Reed was appalled that the team would fall apart, so she called the cultural council, and they told her there's a loophole, that if the group did not have enough, basically for a quorum, or if they were not able to fulfill the requirements, people could stay on until you found people to fill that role, to fill the roles that were needed to be filled. So there's a little loophole. So we won't leave you in the dust. I could.
So a quorum would be 5, correct?
Pardon?
A
no,
quorum would be 5 or 3? 3, okay.
yeah, 3. But officially, we need 5 members, and
We do need
hopefully
5 members
Yep.
on.
a couple of alternates would be nice, too. But,
So if you know anybody who might
Yeah.
want to join us,
Yeah.
And as just a parting, in terms of my terms, I am more than happy to attend meetings. I'm more than happy to serve as a consultant and have input, but of course I can't vote on anything. But I have no intention also, because
Hi, Sarah.
we came a long way.
Hello? Can you hear us okay? Yeah, we can't hear you at all. Wait a minute. Ah. How do I turn this, make this louder? There we
Speaker.
go.
Should be a speaker
Okay,
button.
try again. Sarah, you there? Sarah?
I can hear her.
Can you?
Yeah. Isn't that the speaker button right on the left-hand side on the top? No, on your
Right there,
screen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
On the right-hand side, I'm sorry.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Sarah, you there?
Yep, I'm right here.
Perfect, okay. We just started, so you haven't missed a thing.
Great. I'm just leaving Plantation Street now, so I'll be to you by probably a little before between 7:15 and 7:30.
Oh.
And I'll probably lose my connection somewhere on 68 in Rutland.
Okay.
But for right now, I'm good.
Okay, great, okay. We're just getting to the term limits and how our terms are expiring as of next year. So, we've just started. We welcomed our new members, Nancy and Jonathan.
Oh, good.
Jonathan,
Welcome.
yeah, Jonathan you met, Nancy you haven't met unless you know her otherwise, but,
Nope, I'm still on the relative scale new to Hubbardston.
this is true.
On
Okay,
the scale.
we're sort of bidding farewell to our past chairman, but he's here tonight just to sit in on anything.
I
Moral
thought of the
support.
word here. He's consigliere.
He's what?
Consigliere, yeah. Yeah.
He's our
Part of the
consigliere.
familia. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'll be consigliere.
Consigliere. Okay, well, okay, that's what we'll call him then. We need his advice. We'll probably get his advice whether we ask or not anyway, so.
Why don't you ask Nancy why she volunteered?
Yeah, that's true.
Whether I want to what?
Why you volunteered to be on the committee.
I was asking myself that this morning.
Uh-huh.
In the middle of the winter, when I had none of the things that I used to volunteer. I volunteered at the health center in Barry.
Oh,
I had
okay.
a career in the medical field, and then when the pandemic that ended, and I was moved from a house with lots of responsibilities to a little apartment, and I just thought I needed something to do, and I had met Bill, and I saw his thing out asking for volunteers, and I talked to Joyce Green, and she said it's a worthwhile cause, so I thought, I'll do what I can.
Yeah. That's
So,
great, yeah.
I mean, I just, and I've only lived in Hubbardston itself for 3 years now. I lived in Barry for 10 years because I couldn't buy a house when I moved up north, and Hubbardston, it was too expensive. So I
Oh.
bought in Barry.
Yeah.
My sister lives, and they've been here for
Yeah.
Colliers, Andy
Yeah.
and Don Collier.
1986.
Yeah, and they, so I feel like I know Hubbardston. but-
Yeah, well, they certainly do.
But I was just looking for something to do,
Yeah.
and I looked like you were looking for somebody to help, so
Great,
I don't know that
That's
this is
Jonathan.
anything in
Yeah.
my expertise, but I'll do what I can.
Yeah. And Jonathan, I think you told us last time, why don't you tell us again?
Well, we're really big in the community, volunteering, scouts, Holy Rosary up in Garner there, various other groups. Morgan as well is involved in other groups, including the trustee board for the library. And I'm looking to branch out and do something a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So we're, again, very happy to have you, that's for sure. Okay, so now, I guess maybe we should skip the agenda number 3, discuss and appoint a new chairperson?
Well,
What are our thoughts on that?
I guess to that point, I included in the package that I put together the job descriptions,
Oh, right.
so that you could see what they define the job descriptions as. And we could also give Bill an opportunity to have him explain from his point of view what his role as chairman has been.
Certainly, and it's, you are not starting from a position that was any different from what we started with, because, as Donna mentioned, you know, there was nobody left on the committee, and so we didn't know rules, regulations, protocol, anything of that nature, and so it was a large learning curve. And fortunately, because of common sense and you just having a general love of our community, and knowing that the overall goal was to try to get, you know, culture and art and entertainment and education to our community, but follow, we're one little cog in the overall wheel of the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And so they're our overseer and our guiding light, and we have to follow the agenda, the schedule that they designate for us. So you'll find that there are, quote, deadlines, there are certain periods when the grant applications will be coming in, and so on and so forth, but that'll be shared with everybody. And so you will find it reasonably easy, because we will follow the protocol that's designated by the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And so the responsibilities of the chairperson is to schedule meetings and try to do so in such a fashion that it accommodates everybody's schedule. And we found in the past that this seems to be a pretty good time, 6:30 p.m. This seems to be a convenient spot for people. Of course, we went through a couple of years of doing it Zoom like everybody else, and doing it in such a fashion that it isn't overbearing. Would you say we average 8 meetings a year?
Yeah, it gets
the
most
most, right?
busy at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, at the most.
Yeah.
The most, yeah.
And so, and they...
We communicate a lot through email
Yeah.
on things that are going on.
And but we try obviously not to make sure we make sure, my role is to make sure we're also following the guidelines of open meeting regulations and rules. And so, so we never vote on anything or make any major decisions without it being a meeting being called. And everybody has the opportunity to have input once the grants are submitted. You'll all have copies of the grants, and we'll ask you to take a responsibility to review those, and then we have input. And we have a certain finite amount of money each year, and every year since we've been doing it, it's gone up a little bit, not much. And we generally, as a group, because as a chairperson, once I do the things like scheduling the meeting, calling the meeting to order, it's all done as a group. And when occasionally, if there's some sort of a decision has to be made, like as a tie on something, I might have a little additional input as the chair. But we've always come to agreement and welcome the input, because people come from a different perspective in terms of art and culture and entertainment. And so we're always looking out for the benefit of our demographic group here in Hubbardston. It isn't all for kids, it isn't all for adults.
It's also very refreshing to hear other people's point of views, because you can be surrounded by your own, environment and not you have a family. I mean, I'm older, I don't have kids, but, I understand, but I don't have kids that are actively trying to participate in things. So that's a wonderful point of view to bring. That's new. I mean, everybody comes from a different place, and so when we're going through the grants, it's really interesting to hear what somebody's opinion is on it. It may differ drastically from mine or from somebody else's, and they may change my mind as to what I thought about something. So it's really a very comfortable situation.
Without a doubt. And we all make decisions because There are certain grants that we just rule out entirely, and then there are others that we consider then reconsider. Last year we had approximately 23 grants, and we award 14?
We had 25.
25, okay.
And
Mhm.
14 we approved, and 11 we just, yeah. Right
And then
off-
for the
yeah.
most part, we don't give them everything they're looking for. We look to see what other sources they have. All that information will be there. And a question is asked, if we don't fully fund you, will you still be able to do it? Do you have other sources where you could get people to underwrite the cost of it? So, and then as a chairman, I ask the members to do their very best, that we have a representative at most of the performances. For example, on the 23rd, the library had a reading program, a summer reading program, and I think we reached out and said, if you can make it, all well and good, because we want to have that first-person feedback. And as it turned out, Donna, you did what?
Yeah, well, I did talk with Chris of the library today, just to get some feedback to see, because I didn't think any of us actually made it. We weren't able to get there. And she said that it was, well, I've got his name
It was
here.
attended, there was 6 in
David
attendance.
Bates.
Yeah, oh, that's, yeah, Dave, here it is.
David Bates third.
Davis Bates, The Places You Go. And I guess it was part of the summer reading program that's at the library anyway. And she said he was very well received, and well,
How
he
about
was very
attendance?
interactive with everybody. And then I said, well, how many people were there? And she was like, 6. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, which isn't a lot. And they advertised in the Barry Gazette, too, that he was going to be there. But only 6 people showed up. But she said summertime is a tough time. July is tough. A lot of people are on vacation.
And he
It
had
was
to,
hot.
It was hot. Yeah.
he had to change his date also. I think, there was a reason why, he was
Yeah.
scheduled earlier in the
Did he have COVID
year.
or something?
He wasn't, there was a health issue. I don't remember
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what it was.
The
so.
target audience is grade school, correct, for this?
For that, yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, summer's tough for children because
Yeah.
they're summer camp, they're
Yeah.
visiting, relatives, they're out of town.
Yeah,
It's-
it's
So we
going
need
in
to
many directions.
bear
Yeah.
that in mind, I guess, when we
Yeah.
start saying, okay, yeah, we'll give you, a grant, but can you do it more timely, like
I think it
April,
was
May,
just,
June, or
I think it was
fall?
just unfortunate. I think
Yeah.
it was a much earlier time frame.
Yeah,
You know,
if you do end
yeah.
of August, that's a good time when people start to filter
Yeah.
back, get ready for school, they're gonna be at the home, they're
All
gonna,
I've been hearing though and seeing on Facebook is these young mothers looking for something to do with their children in the summer. So I think that's amazing that there was something and people just didn't go.
Just
They didn't
didn't
take
go,
advantage of
yeah.
it, but
And he was very entertaining and interactive, and it was a perfect opportunity because we all understand the value of reading. Reading is fundamental, so to speak. So once again, to describe my role, I would ask members to try to attend, and then I would be the one that asks for an evaluation, because we're looking for some quantity and also quality. And I would say that our emphasis is always to try to get them to come either to the fair or to field day, because that's a really good audience. And at the fair, we had a couple of grantees there, and the feedback on them was very, very positive, that they did a good job. But they were repeats. And so we also look for newbies, people that come in, and the Massachusetts Cultural Council does a very good job as far as getting the word out there, because they get lots of people that apply for grants. But I think that I would, as a consigliere, I would recommend that we advertise on Facebook and say, hey, let's get some new people in there. You got something you want to offer, something new? Why not fill out a grant? And it's usually not a lot of money that people are asking for. I'm not sure what we paid this guy last Saturday.
Probably probably $200-300
It wasn't
maybe.
Yeah.
wasn't a great deal, Sarah, yeah.
I don't even see his name.
Yeah. And then, so he might have been subsidized by
That's
the
not-
library also.
Right.
Because the library will kick in sometimes, and a few that we didn't give grants to, the library took care of all the costs to have them coming, because she's looking for keeping it very active, and I know that Morgan has attended some events at the library in the past.
475.
I gave him 475, okay, and there, so you gotta say, well, okay, that's something we need to look
Yeah,
at
Wow
and
is
say,
right.
you know,
Right.
475 for 6, and I don't know if that included Chris, but, yeah, so we, you know, something we would look at again and maybe get a little more input from the librarian and get her sense for. But the chairperson's responsibilities are, you know, not too much to ask of an individual, as long as they are organized. And occasionally, I have to redirect the conversation. I have to, you know, say, okay, that's enough on that. We have other topics we need to discuss. Or table something for future. For example, a lot of times with the grants, we need a couple of meetings to do that, because it's a lot to go over. And we'll say, okay, your homework is read those again, come back again, and have a number in mind. What do you think we should allot them? Bearing in mind that we have that $6,100 or whatever it is as a whole. So the information that Laurie has put together for you tonight, I would say as an advisor, when you have the opportunity, look that over, because that'll give you a pretty good idea. And then Laurie's going to also, I'm sure, talk a little bit more about that. So I'll ferme la bouche at this point.
I guess at this point, we could talk about the roles. We filled, there's a lot of roles that could be filled. We have a chairperson role, we have a treasurer, we have a secretary that we fill. Sarah is the person who updates our Facebook page and does that type of communication. I guess I'd say, from my point of view, I personally, I am the treasurer, but if somebody wanted to take that role, I wouldn't mind mentoring them or handing it over or whatever. If at some point it's got to happen. So we've got chair. I mean, are all three positions potentially open for anybody?
Well, they are, and I would say if we stayed on, you and I stayed on, we would work with Jonathan and Nancy, just so they know, because they may be taking over if they are interested, on what the role is
So if you
exactly, what
haven't-
it
Status
involves.
quo.
If you have an interest in one of the roles, I guess, don't be afraid to say, I'd like to try that. And whoever's currently doing that role now will definitely guide you. You can shadow what they do. So I guess I'd just like to say, I think everything can be on the table, personally.
Can I just ask, I know there was a lot of interesting information with Lori about our terms, and that there were questions about whether we were 2023 or 2024. And it sounds like myself and Donna and Lori are all 2023. But was it thinking that it might be 2024, or is that pretty much off the table?
Well, she missed your,
Yeah, we discussed that earlier, Sarah. Technically, we signed up for a second 3-year term, but the way the Mass Cultural Council has it set, you can only do 6 years. And remember, we all did 1 year fulfilling someone else's term.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so technically our term is up in 2023. Even though last year we signed up for another 3-year term. And that's where the confusion came in. but Lori's, Lori,
Lori Reed?
Lori Reed spoke with someone
Yeah.
from, Mass Cultural, and said there is a loophole there to keep the integrity of the council together. If there aren't enough members, then we could stay on until, new members were found and appointed. So that's where maybe we will be around for a little longer. So,
Right, okay.
But that was the
All right.
confusion. We got that straightened out. So technically,
Okay.
we're done next year, but we may be around for a while.
Okay.
Okay?
So basically, if we look for more members and none come forward, we get put in as if we want to, kind of, because we don't have anybody else at that time. Is that correct?
Right. I guess that's how it works. There may be paperwork or whatever to fill out, or maybe have to be sworn in again. I'm not really sure. But I'm sure,
Okay.
by then, hopefully, if we get aggressive enough, we can find some people and, hopefully talk them into taking over.
It's
Okay.
always a challenge.
So,
It
but
is a
from my
challenge.
perspective, as the former chair, based on what I've seen our current officers do, my input would be we maintain the status quo. I believe that the two ladies who hold official positions, secretary and treasurer, have done an excellent job. And that you as newcomers, you can follow what goes on at the meetings, and perhaps along the way, if your aptitudes are such towards the financial part of it and so on and so forth, that you can kind of, once again, mentor from the ones that we have. That would be my 2 cents, rather than, and both the ladies have said, it's up for grabs, so to speak, if we're starting a new year. But my perspective would be, let's stay with the status quo, and the one point of action that needs to be taken tonight to have a full complement is to appoint a chairperson. So, okay. So,
Yeah,
are you two ladies?
speaking-
Okay.
Yeah, and speaking as that person, I still have cell service right now. We'll see if it dies out, but I'm in Rutland now, so I'm doing good.
Yeah.
My feeling on being the chair is I'm mixed, because I know that I would have Bill's guidance and just Lori and Donna's outstanding support. The one thing that I'm thinking, and that's why I was asking about our term limits, is I'm wondering if it's more appropriate to have, like, Jonathan maybe be interested in it, work alongside Bill and Lori, because he would be there longer. So that was my thought on it.
Or Nancy.
Or Nancy, either way.
What are your thoughts on that?
Learn by fire?
Sorry to put you on the
There you
spot.
go.
No. My concern is it's all new to me, so there's going to be a huge learning curve with all of this.
You gotta remember, we had no curve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we
we
had, and we would support you, whatever. I mean, does it intrigue you at all?
No, right now, no. Next year I would,
It's an honest answer.
sorry.
No, that's, and Nancy,
No, I would tell you the same thing I tell the Lions Club. It's always trying to get me to take an office. At my age, I've done my leadership. I'm on here to support and to do legwork.
That's
I will do any
respectful.
job you give me, but I really don't want to be an officer. And if that's a criteria,
no.
Oh,
then
no, absolutely not.
No,
But-
your,
No.
being on the board is definitely respected, and we will go with your wishes.
it doesn't mean that I can't. If I'm on here a year and I feel comfortable, but I've been.
wanna see what
you know,
it
I've
is.
Done a lot, and I just, you know.
Yep. I can understand. It's, you get to a point where you burn out, and sometimes you might get that refueled and take something on again. No, I'm certain, but that's how it seems to go, you know.
Right.
But, so,
If you need me to be the chair, I'll do it. It's not my preference right now.
Sarah?
I need to get my feet wet first.
I think that they need to,
Yeah.
Are you there, Sarah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
awfully quiet.
Sorry, I'm trying to drive at the same time. Yeah, I mean, I'm mixed on it. I know that there would be great support with Lori and Donna and Bill in his concierge role. I was the one who said the word, and now I can't say it. It's just, you know, I'm still doing very full-time work, and I'm anticipating more time in Chicago later this year because I'm going to have a grandchild.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. But I
Schedule
mean,
meetings around that.
Yeah.
you know, I think where some of my concern is a little bit more of the time commitment, and I know that Bill has these wonderful connections in town where he can reach out to people and say, hey, what are you doing on that? And I'm just not entirely sure that I would have that availability. I can certainly call a meeting and I can certainly review things. Some of the accounting brilliance that Lori brings to it, I get lost in the weeds. But and I'm very comfortable with Lori leading that entirely. So, I mean, with those caveats, I mean, I guess so.
Oh, that, yeah. So we can,
Again,
I think we can work-
I am, you know, I think that, you know, it's unfortunate because it would only
You
be
get 'em?
for a year, and then we would
Miss
have
Miyagi, did you get
to
it?
transition again.
Okay.
right.
With
But
that in mind,
yeah, I think, like,
make a motion.
I think if you know, if you really would be interested, at least for that year, it would be very helpful, and I'll make a motion to nominate. You may
You
never.
would do it when I'm in my car.
I'm not going to
Before
do
we
it while
lose
you're
the
here.
I should be there probably in about 10 minutes. I'm just crossing the intersection of 56 and 68 right now.
Okay, well, we'll wait till you get
No,
here
no,
then.
no,
And
make the
no,
motion.
no.
No.
The conciliere has spoken. We'll do it now. But we, you know, we can work meetings around you and your trips to Chicago.
Yeah, no, I mean, and there's, I mean,
You are still going to
what
continue
we
to come to
say at
meetings?
work when we're
Pardon me?
working
You're
with
going to still
patients, I
continue
mean,
to come to
ma'am.
meetings,
Yeah.
otherwise we'll be here till 9
if
o'clock,
there
I
is any
think.
at
Yeah,
all,
I will.
is use of tools like Zoom and phones and what we're doing.
Exactly.
You know, the vestry of our church in Rhinebeck,
So,
New
I
York,
mean,
and our priest used to say, a vestry meeting,
Yeah.
any meeting,
You're fading out.
can't
You're fading. You must
get
be in
the
that
work
one little
done
black
in an
hole in
hour.
Rutland.
you're wasting time.
I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Motion,
Well,
second.
I second the motion that Sarah be chairperson.
Okay.
congratulations.
No,
Well-
all those in favor?
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Look at
Aye.
Jonathan.
Yeah, see, I could never be chairman.
I can shadow and I can learn. I
It's
just
a good idea, and I'm more than happy to help.
I don't want to.
No.
The team will work together.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
always has. I think we'll be fine. We'll support you 100%, more than that.
Right.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Oh, gee, thanks. I think it's the level of connection that Bill has with the town that's super helpful. That, you know, I don't know as many people, but I know Bill and I know Lori Reed, and so that's a start.
Yeah, and don't forget, he's around, so you can always delegate to him. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know Katie Young, so
Oh, well, that's good.
Okay.
if I know Katie, you know, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's more reaching out and things like that. But yeah, if you want to give me the crown of thorns, I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay,
Moving along.
we're gonna move on. The next thing on Donna's agenda says revisit other positions. I think we've talked to both Nancy and Jonathan. Nancy's made it clear that she's willing to do whatever she can as a support member, and Jonathan is going to watch and listen as a chairperson, see what it is, and get a feel for the role. So it sounds like the other roles are not changing at this point. Agreed? Are we?
Agreed.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can hear me. I don't have a great connection right now, but I can maintain the Facebook stuff.
Okay, can we
Yeah.
get Jonathan and Nancy on as people who can update it also?
Are you there, Sarah? Might have lost her.
Oh,
We're admins also. She's the head admin, but
Yeah.
we're admins also, so that if you see something, before
Yeah.
any of us can see something, you can put it out
I
there.
agree with that. I
So-
would make a notion that we have, unilateral access to that sort of
Right,
stuff. so
yep,
that-
okay,
yeah.
so we'll just need to let her know, because she's
Okay.
the one who has to.
Yeah, yeah.
At this point. And it could be that that gets handed over. It can always work any way we want. So let's make sure when Sarah comes in, we remind her that we want to do that.
Yep.
Okay. Want to go on to financial reporting? I put together a small package for the reporting, and I try to gather whatever information I have and put it in a treasurer's report. And this tells you the activity in the last month. We get a report on a monthly basis from the town accountant, Kelly, and it'll say if we have, what activity.
That would be this one. Okay.
Sorry.
I don't think, oh, it might be, is it behind the?
I don't know.
Is it right here
Still
on
on the
the-
desk?
No?
No,
Sorry.
I may, these were done late, so maybe I can hand you mine. It shouldn't be stapled to anything. It
Is it a
should've-
single page?
No, it's like 3 pages staple, I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries.
I did this late, so
I
you
just
don't
have the one
have,
page
It's all right,
here.
go over it now.
Go.
you don't
I
have
don't
it?
find, I have probably in here, but I don't have it.
Okay, anyways, this summarizes the activity that took place in the month. So the last time we got reports from the town was the May 30th ending report. And so I basically look for Arts Council, I look for the activity, were there any debits, were there any credits? And I update, this is what the report looks like. It comes out, I find us, and then I take whatever activity might be there. And then I update a ledger.
In here.
Is it in there?
It's in this.
Oh, it's on top of the,
There you go.
sorry. Right here.
Sorry. I was scrambling to get everything done, and
That's cool.
so the first page is a synopsis of a monthly activity, and it helps to explain that we're in balance with what our balance. The second page is how I keep track of the balance. This was a sheet similar, very similar to what the Cultural Council put out to track activity. I've added some columns that make it a little bit easier for me to follow what's going on with grants that are outstanding. So anyways, the big thing that happened recently was our $6,100 were put into the wrong account. We have 2 accounts. One was an interest account that all it did was collect interest, and that's where they put the $6,100. The rest of our money is in a grant account. So right after this report was done, I asked them to combine the 2 accounts. The interest account it's no longer getting interest, hasn't gotten interest for a long time. So no more mistakes should happen. We've combined,
Hi,
there's
Sarah.
So anyways, we've combined the accounts into one, and the accountant moved the money.
Sarah, this is Nancy.
Hi Nancy, nice to meet you.
Sarah, and you met Jonathan the last time, so sit down, take a load off your mind. And you gave blood tonight, right?
Yeah.
And how you feeling?
I don't know, you always feel a little, like, why did I do that? But-
Well, your hair looks nice.
Oh, thank you. It's a good thing to do, and I can do it, so,
That's great.
you know, it's right there right near where I work, so it's easy. But anyway, it's hard to get appointments, so that's why I couldn't change anything. Anyway,
I did contact the treasurer, the town's fiscal years are July 1st through June
Help each
30th.
other.
And so the fiscal years just ended, and I was hoping to have a complete fiscal year's activity, but it's coming out next week. So this is the May 30th report. And it doesn't show the two accounts being combined. Kelly did that in the middle of June, so it won't show up yet. The good thing with the reporting is we have completely paid everybody for past grants. I mean, because of COVID, things lingered. So we were carrying 2019, 2020, things got shut off in midstream. So we are now pretty much caught up. We have one grant that is outstanding. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so this is what you can expect to see from me, a financial report. The last page of it is a administrative fee report, which we allocated $305 to. And Sarah's been doing Facebook boosts for us.
but you did all this.
But Sarah's been doing Facebook boosts for us, and we need to pay her out of these administrative expenses. So anyways, that's basically what it is. That is, I guess I'd like to segue into talking about grants, if I can.
What about, have you've incurred costs? And have you submitted any?
No.
I went looking for what I could
And
find.
did
This
you,
is-
do you?
Yeah,
intend-
you're right. Yeah, that's probably about right.
I think I'm missing the amount for one date, though.
Right. Yeah, it's $20. It's usually.
It's $20?
Yeah,
So it's $82
Yeah,
probably that
it's-
I owe you?
Yeah, it's an amazingly cheap bang for your buck, because when you do a boosted post, you put the geographical area, and because our geographic area that I choose is relatively small, that, they go on that, and it's, it's cheap. It's very cheap, and we get a good bang for our buck out of it, which is good.
And one of the things we discussed was we'd like to add the new members as moderators so they can put something on
Sure.
Facebook. Yeah,
Sure.
We'll take care of that.
You want to just sign that and put your address on it, and I'll submit it?
You're amazing. You're just amazing.
Thank you.
What I do try to do with the Facebook page is, for the most part, I try to alert people what I'm putting up, or if I have a question about what I'm putting up or something like that, I usually try to say, hey, either I'm thinking about doing this, or does this look okay to everybody, and things like that. I find that that's...
Is there a formal process for expense reporting or expense approval?
Yes. I have a form that I created.
Okay.
And I don't have it here. I will send it out, though, so that, where's my note?
And do we typically have a budget every year in terms of what we want to pull from the pot for this sort of thing?
Exactly. We
The
just-
state recommends what, like 250 or something?
Well, they
Okay, so there's a
recommend
guidance for it.
5%
I'm
of
sorry?
what they recommend 5% of your grant
Okay.
total that they gave you, and we usually go along with that. So this year, it's $305.
Gotcha.
Um,
That's the, yep.
I will send out the admin expense
What happens if we don't use it?
fee. It rolls into the next year.
Okay, so we get to keep it, to give it back.
Nope, nope, nope. To create this report, the Mass Cultural Council has given us a spreadsheet to fill out as to what grants are going on, what grants have, and so it tells us if there are encumbered dollars, what's left, and there's two sheets here. One is what the Cultural Council, the Massachusetts Cultural Council has us do, which is the grant tracking spreadsheet. I also do this other sheet that's attached, that's here, to separate it out into what fiscal year was it from. You can see on the top of this particular page, we had fiscal year 19, just this, that we were still trying to get through. So anyways, the very last page is a summary. I should have put the last page up front. Fiscal year 19, which is this summary page here. It shows, the far column is what's still outstanding. The left column says what did we start the year with that was owed. So it's, I'm in a whole nother packet at this point, Donna, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to move along.
Here we go, okay.
So in the very last page of that whole packet there's a summary which says which fiscal year, what was the status, fiscal year 19, everything's paid. Fiscal year 20, we have one outstanding performance that is the Lions Club. They had to cancel out, they have an animal act, which we've carried forward for, and they're gonna do it at the next field day. So we have $736 outstanding for them, but that's the only thing that's outstanding. If you look fiscal year 21, we've either paid them because they did the performance or paid them and they didn't do the performance. The Mass Cultural Council had a ruling that because of COVID, and we're talking about artists mainly, that if there was a hardship and it couldn't be performed, we were to pay, we asked them to send in a reimbursement request form, and we were to pay them. So we've paid everybody. Not everybody performed, but we did pay everybody.
Is that still going on now, or is it just for 2021 COVID?
Pardon?
I think
It's over.
It's over, okay,
Yeah.
so we can,
Move forward. And
Yeah.
from my point of view, from a treasurer's point of view, it's very nice not to have things lagging
Yeah, yeah.
multiple
It's a
years.
nightmare otherwise.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
COVID
gets
created
really hard to-
a lot of complications in terms of people having to postpone or having to cancel.
Or come
and-
up with virtual segments to do it
Alternatives,
with.
yeah.
You know, some people created YouTube things to fulfill what they were gonna do. So it was interesting. And the Mass Cultural Council's goal was, people are hurting already, let's not, give them another dig. So anyways,
Well, for some, it's their only income, I guess,
Right.
and that was, yeah, that was why they were behind it, 100%.
so anyways, this page just shows you, Jonathan had asked for something similar to this.
This is really helpful.
It just shows you what grants we have. Do I have the Lions on here?
Yeah.
I do. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't say much about, it just says educational program. But anyways, these are the things that we've got coming up. Some of them have been completed so far. I'm not sure about the thing that was gonna happen in May. We had an African Arts in Education residency program. The Hubbardston PTO was supposed to do that. We should follow up and see whether that happened. And
Is that during school hours?
it was, I thought it was supposed to be, so it should have been completed by
Yeah,
now, so,
yeah.
but I'm not.
And you
it-
haven't heard from them for reimbursement?
No, but this is all this year's stuff. I've only heard from a couple of people.
Oh, okay.
But no, I haven't. And
Okay.
I also don't know if the fleece scarf took place at the senior center here.
I can ask Laura
what?
if you want.
If there was a great program that was going to be at the senior center where Laura Foley
Laura Foley, yeah.
was going to teach making a fleece scarf. And that was going to be, I think, in May, but
I hadn't heard anything about it.
I don't know if time...
I can ask her if you want.
That would be terrific,
Okay.
because it needs a follow-up.
And give us some feedback.
Okay.
And I'll check on the African Arts PTO.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'll find out about that and give us
Thank
some
you, Bill.
feedback.
Appreciate that.
Excellent. Okay,
Would you like that in writing, like email?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that, don't you feel that would be,
that would be good,
Yeah.
yeah. And if she knows when it might be, or any information you can gather, so we can,
Well, yeah, she's
Right.
usually good about that sort of thing.
super. It may have happened, and I just, oblivious to stuff that's going on around me. So we know that we had the juggler and David Maloof and Davis Bates just took place. And what I did for two of these people, Henry the juggler and David Bates, just so you get an idea, I printed off what we do for grants. There's two sheets here, one for Henry, who was the juggler at Field Day, I think you saw him.
Yep.
And David Maloof, I don't know if you saw him or not.
Maybe not.
I saw.
They both performed, but this here shows you a sheet I create for the group so that the grants total like 150 pages, and
Oh,
I
they're
try to
huge.
summarize everything down to one page so that we can make a decision. And we can go to the grants to find them. I printed out for these two people their actual grant information from the Mass Cultural site, so you can see what an actual submitted grant looks like.
Cool.
So there's two people, the two that just performed that you might be associated with, that I did that for. And the next sheet of paper just shows you this one here, this is the spreadsheet we used when we were deciding, when we were just starting to determine who to give money to. It basically lists all of the grants and how much they were asking for. And we just track whether we decided to, usually we'll say yes, no, maybe on the sheet. And then we say, okay, how much? So this is just a spreadsheet that helped us make our decisions this year. The last thing that I have here is for the two people that just performed, this is what I submit to the town accountant. It is a reimbursement. I always send a cover letter to lay out what account I want the money taken from, because it sometimes came from the wrong account, so I spell out everything. And it's what they submitted for their reimbursement request. So, and this one it's a letter. This one is that it has a letter.
Do we have that in the packet?
It should be. Everything was kind of going down, but I know everybody had
No
to
worries. It's all right.
shuffle
This
to
right
get.
here? This is it, right?
That's it, yep.
All right.
So the top, it's a cover letter for every reimbursement request I get. I used to send these through mail. Everything's done through email because of COVID, and it's just continued. So I put together a cover sheet of telling her there's two reimbursement requests. One was for the juggler, one was for David Maloof. And I've shown you what they submit when they sent in their requests. Henry the juggler sent in, David Maloof sent in a bunch of pieces of paper supporting the fact that he advertised the Cultural Council.
He did.
And He also sent in pictures of somebody playing the ukulele. And then Henry sent in just a note to the council members. But we know council people on the committee were here, so we do know that they did perform. And that's pretty much all I have. This is informational. This is our grant cycle lifeline, timeline, not a lifeline.
Should be a lifeline.
It tells you what we should approximately be doing when. It's just informational. So it's the Cultural Council's guidelines for, just as we should look at this at meetings to make sure we're on target for getting things
And Laurie,
done.
won't that come out in an email that we can distribute that will announce the upcoming year and schedule for what's coming up for next year?
It may. I took this off online, but I'm not sure if, we get, I'm not exactly sure, Bill, I'm sorry. I'm not exactly sure.
Why don't we make it a point that, because we get things from MCC, Massachusetts Cultural Council, all the time, and when the cycle comes out, Donna, will you make sure that everybody on committee gets a copy of it? Because that'll be really a good guideline for, you'll know what's going on and how our schedules for meetings will transpire, and I'll make a note of
Yeah,
that.
the grant deadline usually, I think by mid-October, is that usually when the grant?
It says on
Deadline
this thing, it
October-
says October 17th.
Yeah, it says October 17th.
Okay.
That's another thing we need to make sure is that at the Mass Cultural Council and in different places, Sarah, we change you to the chairperson as opposed, and remove Bill's name, just to, you will probably get more emails than the rest of us might, just be,
Oh, yeah.
just what you need.
Like I pay a lot of attention to the ones I'm currently getting.
The other thing that is important or kind of cool is this information just tells you how to log into the grant management system. They have to know you're a member, so this gives you information. Do both of you get on and use the computer much, or?
It's my
I
career.
do, but I'm obviously not as computer savvy as the rest of you.
We could probably set it up so that we can set up your login if you want. They need to know, there's some instructions here on how to go about making sure, this will make sure that you're in their system and you do, are you getting their emails yet?
No, not yet.
So you need to do this probably to make sure you're gonna get their emails.
Okay. This is self-help. I don't have to have you authorize anything, right? I just go in and fill it out and...
I think so,
Okay.
yes.
Because you got sworn in and everything.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And Laurie, can you send Nancy a copy of that?
Is that this?
It's,
Yeah.
It is, yes. And if you need help with that, just let us know.
now here's where I can't remember. It's going to authenticate you because it should know that you're a member. So it's going to authenticate the login that you might have provided to somebody.
I should have already provided some PII information, basically, that they'll be able to confirm when I sign in, probably is what that is.
Yes,
Like date
so-
of birth, address, all that.
I guess I'm curious as to whether you have a problem logging in.
I'll let you know,
And we'll
yep.
have to see what we need to do on our end.
Yep.
Nancy, once Jonathan has successfully figured it out, because it's been a while since we've done it, we can,
Well, I have a friend who will help me with just about everything I need with the password, with logging in, so I'll
okay,
just take my
okay.
computer to...
I'm just iffy as to whether
But I
they
don't-
already have you guys in the system behind the scenes or not. Since you aren't getting the emails yet, piece of me thinks maybe you're not.
Yeah.
So-
I can run it right after the meeting if you want. I have my laptop here. We
This
can
is
set it
so
up.
that we get information from them, is that what you're, why do we need...
And, yeah, yep, so you get information, and also so that you can go in and look at the grants. They also have financial annual report information in there. They have stuff about Hubbardston's Cultural Council in there. So it's a place where, it's a secure place where they store information that you, as being a member of the Hubbardston Cultural Council, can see other people outside of our group can't see Hubbardston stuff, so it's, and then there's the toolkit, which is pretty cool. I think I probably got the timeline off the toolkit, and that's just another link that I posted for you there. It's got some interesting information.
I will certainly give this a try.
Sounds good.
And
Am
what I was going
done?
to say too was with the October deadline for applications, that's when, like, we probably don't need another meeting until October, maybe.
Unless we need to make sure people are getting things done or whatever, you know, we probably want to keep an eye on the grants, and
Because that's when the meetings generally will have, maybe every other week we might have meetings.
that's probably
for-
true. I think if we need to do any advertising, we can probably email each other about how we're going to get advertising for a particular
right,
event
right,
done or
yeah.
something like
So
that.
the applications are done through the state portal, basically, correct?
Yes.
Right, we have
And
no
we can, so
control
it's
of
hands
that.
off, we don't have to do anything except for
No,
maybe
right.
advertise if we want to get the word out, if we feel that might be short 1 year.
What we
Okay.
thought was, can you post something on the Facebook page and said, hey, if you're interested in doing it, you know, now's the time, you know, whatever the
Yep.
application process, because we're looking for new people who bring, you know, art, entertainment, culture, education to our demographics in Hubbardston. Put something on our Facebook page to
One thing that's kind of cool in the applications that you see, the examples of here, they tell you how they're going to advertise. And so, anyways, it's always an interesting point of view to see if they put nothing there. It's kind of like we have to ask them, well, how are you going to get the word out? So that's another, there's just a lot of information on the applications that's kind of cool.
And that would be part of our evaluation. If they have no resources to get the word out,
Right.
then, you know, they are almost relying on us to get the word out. And we take that into consideration as a grant, you know, and the senior center is really good about posting them out there, and we're good about putting them on the Facebook page.
Bill
but
has a connection at the police station, so he gets the reader board updated with events that are coming up.
They're pretty good about doing that for us.
Anyway, so, and the last page is just our resource page, and on the bottom, I have filled it out. Nancy, I don't know whether,
978. You want it?
pardon?
Not, you got my phone?
Yes, yes, I would love.
978-820-1165. That's my house phone.
Okay. Anyway, so this just is a quick glance sheet as to if somebody takes something over, you're not left without knowing where stuff is. I guess some things are in yellow because I don't know if there's a filing cabinet still over there. I don't know, maybe there is. I just haven't been in that building forever.
Oh,
The answer is yes.
yeah, I have the meeting minutes to file, so I'll.
So we hope
find
there
out.
is, yeah. This cabinet
It
is
should be,
supposed to be a place to keep track of everything, all records, that the annual reports, grant listings, you know, and usually I would print off a whole book, a whole 150 pages, and put it in there, because you're supposed to maintain that, a hard copy. It's probably at my home. The 1 year I lost, I ended up reprinting it. Everything got lost in the fire originally, that was at home during COVID. And then I've reprinted, but I haven't updated the cabinet yet, which I need to do.
That's in the town office, in one of the back rooms, is a file cabinet.
It's overstuffed to begin with, so. And the last thing is, this is just updated. This is the revised July 2022 program guidelines. I don't know that it's fun reading at all, being honest, but it's something to check. It is online also, which is a lot easier to find stuff online. To be able to search and find what you're looking for is a lot easier.
Yeah.
I just thought, I didn't know if everybody goes online as much as I might, and it's just a hard copy. So that's
I
my,
like paper.
You like paper?
I like paper, print it out.
I do too, yeah.
I want to see it. I lose it when it goes online and all of a sudden I've iffy internet where
Well, that's why I did this
comes and goes.
one-time kind of printing thing, I just, in case, so you have probably more information than you ever wanted, but this is kind of what I thought maybe would be helpful to share with you guys today. Anyways,
And it seems kind of overwhelming.
Very overwhelming.
Sorry.
It's really, in terms of being a member, it's actually pretty straightforward. You get information about grants, you review them, you look at them and you go, well, that sounds kind of interesting, maybe we'd like to do that. Or you go, and then we come together and we talk about it. And it's really, because we've got, Lori keeping us all in line, which is amazing. It helps a lot.
do it for
And
my own,
when you
I
get,
do it for my
when
own
you get this
sanity.
information, like you send out the emails with the information about a pending grant, is it permissible to print it? Can I print it out?
Yeah.
Or have it, my sister print it out?
Yeah.
So that I have it?
Yes.
Yeah, you certainly can. I
Okay.
think what we usually do when the grants become available to see, we usually all kind of, we'll have a meeting where we'll kind of do a first pass, and kind of all look at them, and then we'll have, and we'll tally it up and see how much money is available and how much we have, and then we kind of parse it down from there. But it's really, it's not as, it's
I'm sorry, I probably
pretty
made it
easy.
look daunting, and it's
It's not
It is
daunting.
not, and I apologize
And
for
what
that.
Laurie will do, I don't know how she finds the time, but she'll take that grant.
The
and
big
she'll-
book.
She'll
It's big.
synopsize it and put it on
I
one
downloaded
sheet of
to
paper.
to Excel, and then
gives
I
you
just
the,
parse it out by
quick and dirty
page.
Right.
part of
Yeah.
it, so it's
Right.
really good. And
I
but
do it
you
for
might
myself.
find some.
Yeah.
So why not share it, so.
You may find some that you say, I need to know more about that, and that's
That
when you
should go
go
back
to
to
the
the grant.
and that works out fine. So you'll come prepared to be able to have input regarding what you think the value of it is, and also the dollar value. Because if they're asking for 800, but we know we can't give them that, you come up with an idea of what would be fair and equitable based on the amount of money we have. We have a pot, and we have to divide it a certain number of ways, and in order to entice people to submit grants, you want to, if you want them, you want to give them at least something to let them know that we are interested in them. And we've never had anybody refuse the money. No one has ever said, we can't do it for that kind of money, right? They've all managed to do it because they'll go to other pots. And so,
Or they
even
would downsize the program.
they
a
say they
little
did,
bit.
but I think that it hasn't reflected in the quality of the
No,
performances
no.
or the like. Okay,
No,
move on.
it's been fine.
Not the chairman anymore.
Okay, yeah.
So it's really pretty easy. The busy time is up until we, and busy means one meeting every couple of weeks. It's not like we're calling you all the time and saying, oh, you need to do this.
No, and it's fun to go to the event.
It is, we do try.
Right.
And the very last item on the agenda is that generally we have at least one or two representatives that are there that give us feedback after. And with the fair or the field day, most of us go to that.
And I
So-
found it very interesting to hear your point of view as to what you saw and your questions that it generated from, what you saw. So I thought that was enlightening to see, so.
I do think in the future, I don't know who sets up the field day, but in
The
terms
Lions
of,
Club.
yeah, in terms of the setup for the fair, I think one of the problems is where, and I'm guessing that was his assigned spot. The ukulele guy was way out, and I don't think that was his choice of where to be. I think that's where, that was his spot. And so I think in the future would wanna, if we're gonna have people at the field, at the fair, we need to, you know, if we need to work maybe more with Katie and say, can you put them closer in? Because I felt badly for the ukulele guy, because he was like way out and there was nothing really, I mean, I suppose he could come forward and really kind of interact with people, but the natural location was pretty terrible for him.
The two factors there would be, they got the band. So you have to get it at a point where you can't be too close to the band because you're going to be drowned out.
Right.
And that's a matter of good communication. You know, talking to Katie and have her make sure it gets announced that at a certain time he's going to do his performance. So, hey, you ought to go over there.
Because he's not there all day, right?
Yeah, he's only there for a finite amount of time, so you can schedule it accordingly. Band takes a break, ukulele takes over. You know, the band takes a break, the juggler does his thing. So Katie's pretty good about that, and it may have been that she put him in a spot for the reason I just described, and then there may have been 2 or 3 other vendors that didn't come. And so there was a space, if there was. I was away.
Yeah, I mean, there were a ton of vendors, but he was just, you know,
I was there, I don't remember seeing him.
he was, you had to look, and in all honesty, the juggler,
So that would be an opportunity to
Yeah.
talk with Katie to,
Yeah, this big tall guy and still walking around.
yeah, that-
yeah, but his time there was about this much.
Yeah.
And I just thought he was going to be performing more, and I think if he applies again, I think I would want to, you know, talk to him and kind of say, you know, really, I looked hard for him on the first round, and then saw him at a distance, and he wasn't performing, and clearly he did, because you saw him performing, and Katie got him on camera, which was great, but, you know, I saw lots of reptiles and all kinds of other things, and I wasn't finding him.
The first year we sponsored him, I thought he was on for, he was right in front of the bandstand.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was on for at least a half hour or so.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we do that again, we should either have them or us work maybe more with Katie, because yeah, the band takes very limited breaks.
Yeah.
They're not down for long. So
And what he did was a half an hour performance, and then he got on the
Then he was
stilts.
on the
And he
stilts,
went out
yeah.
and,
yeah, no, I don't think there was a half.
This
Time
year,
on the
this year he
stilts.
only made one pass around.
Mhm.
So we saw him for 5 minutes. He encountered my children, had a little interaction, and then he went to the other side over by the food trucks,
Uh-huh.
and he disappeared.
okay.
Yeah,
until the
and
performance.
yeah,
I was
and when
expecting
I
to have him
asked,
linger around for a while until his performance, but he disappeared for a while.
So when you look at his grant,
I did, I
they
was
will
just
say the
looking-
length of time for the grant, yeah, the performance.
I was
and
just
so
looking at it,
We'll
and
make
I-
sure you hold them to that.
it does say he would stroll around, but like when I went to talk to the ukulele guy, who was really working pretty hard,
Yeah.
when I went to talk to the ukulele guy, I said, "Have you seen the juggler?" And he's like, "Yeah, Henry. Oh, he's gone."
Yeah.
And it was literally, I think it was 11:30. It was like 11.
So
It
maybe
wasn't-
we'll just keep that in our bonnet for
Yeah,
next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
as to-
going to keep it in
He
mind.
says he'll leave for an hour's contiguous time. Is it split up
Combined.
time? Combined, right.
Mhm.
Right.
You know, where the expectations are clearly defined for his participation.
Absolutely, good.
Yeah,
point.
because like when I saw the Potter last year, I mean, he works hard. And he's really pulling people. He also is in a good spot. Now, I don't know if as a performer, you have to be a little bit more assertive and say, no, I'd like to be, you know, this spot isn't really working for me. Could you put me there? I don't know. But he was not far from the bandstand, and he was very engaging with, and he worked hard.
Good, because that's what we experienced before
Yep.
when we saw him in the past.
Okay, I guess one question is, should we go over who has to do what when we leave? Jonathan, you were going to try if you can get into the Cultural Council website through their portal, and if you can't, you'll let us know and we'll work on making that happen.
Order enrollment.
I
yeah.
should see if I can get in.
Yes, you should.
Who notifies, should I send a message to Lori Reed?
That you're the chairperson?
Yeah.
Sure.
Don't I sound convincing?
I think, Donna and I have been working with Lori on getting the town website updated, but I think anybody can, if you see something that's wrong, it should get updated, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
well,
I think that's fine for you to contact Lori and tell her
Yeah.
you're the new chair.
She's super great. When I sent her a message this past week to say what's the password in case you wanted to use a phone or a computer in here, she had an out message that said I'm away, but she got back to me within like 15 minutes. I'm like,
She's dynamite.
that's not exactly being away, Lori.
No, it's not.
But I can give that information to Lori.
Did we ask her to update the latest grantees? on
I
the-
did.
Oh, okay.
I gave it to her. It is up
Okay.
there.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
I looked at the things that you were concerned about, and I made sure I went over them with her.
Yeah.
And so I told her, fix this, remove this, fix this, remove this.
Now,
She said,
where-
but this link still works, so I left it. So, okay.
Where are you talking about?
On the Hubbardston Town page,
Right.
the Cultural Council, there's a list of,
It was 2017 or 18
there's minutes there,
grantees.
there's
Yeah.
activities there, there's links to the Mass Cultural Council, and at the bottom, there's a list of the members, which she has added both Jonathan and Nancy to.
Okay.
But it says that that's where she needs to update you as the chair.
Okay.
But we also have
Capital
to,
letters.
we also have to let the Cultural Council know.
And do I send them an email? Or does that have to come from the town?
I think you could go in and update it yourself.
On the Cultural Council the Hubbardston page of the Cultural Council
Yeah.
website?
Yep. If you can't, I guess, but I think I updated it last time. So I think if you want, I can go in and update it. Either way. Let's see, what else have we got going on here, guys?
I was going to, for publicity, I waited until the library guy was done because I didn't want to jump in front of anything. But I wanted to put up, I don't know if you get this magazine in the mail. We get it from Worcester Telegram. It's called like Worcester County Living or something.
Just living.
And the Friendly Ass Farm lady was right on the front,
Right,
which
right.
was great. And we've given her money in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'd put that on our page
it.
and say, you know, here we are. And it may also encourage her potentially to apply for a grant again in the future.
Did she not apply last year?
No, she
Oh, she
didn't.
didn't.
I know.
had a hard time getting her
Oh.
to, because she's one that she didn't perform. So I went and knocked on her door.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
told her what the rule was with the Cultural Council, and she's like, oh, I'll submit a reimbursement request right away.
Yeah.
So maybe because she hadn't been able to, she usually goes to the school, she goes to hospitals, she does a lot of different things, so.
Well, she works here too, doesn't she?
She works with the
se-
seniors sometimes,
seniors,
yeah.
Yeah, and she was at the fair. She was
Yep.
probably at the field day. But anyway, I was going to put her up, and then for like 10 days, and then I was going to. There's a new issue of Uniquely Quabbin out, which you can now find at like Market Basket in Athol, which is like great. But I was going to put that up for like 10 days, and then I would shout out to artists and things like that after that, if that's okay.
Yep, and along with that, you're going to add Jonathan and Nancy as administrators.
Yeah, are you guys on Facebook? Okay. Jonathan, I think I've seen you comment, right?
Yep, you see me around. Jonathan.Brinker is my ID on Facebook. First.
And that's on Facebook. Okay. And how do I find you on Facebook?
Just Nancy Road.
And I misspell my name on Facebook.
I was wondering about, I've always wondered about that, if that was on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I have so much contact with the patients that I don't want them to find me.
I will
They do, but I don't want them to find
handle
me.
the administrative fee for you. Anything else that we said we'd try to take care of? You were checking with...
I'm going
uh,
to check on the Afro Arts program.
And you're checking with Laura
PTO.
Foley?
That's right,
on
Laura
the-
Foley, yeah.
Happy to do that.
Does
excellent.
does the Lions Club determine how they're gonna do performers on field day? It does sound to have this highwayman guy plus the crop dusters. I just wondered how they're gonna do that.
I'm not sure what you mean.
I think it's, there's just one, you mean from us?
Well, just in terms of how they're going, I'm wondering,
The Crop Dusters is a group.
right, so I'm assuming they're gonna be in the bandstand, and are they playing all
Oh, I don't.
throughout field
Yeah.
day? And because I don't know where the highwayman performance is gonna be, and are they coordinating that with the Lions Club, or are we coordinating that with the Lions
I
Club?
could certainly find that out. I mean, I'm
That's
the
that's a
Lions.
weird relationship, right? We disperse the money, but they're responsible to work with
It is.
Well,
the organizer of the event, right?
It is. And we're
That's their
kind of at that,
responsibility.
Yeah.
and we're kind of left out of the loop at that point as
We have to chase that for that information then, for accountability reasons, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Nancy, you can...
but I think the Lions, I mean, I think Joyce ends up with everything very
Yeah.
well organized. I don't,
Right, I'm sure.
and we never, crop dusters she's familiar with.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you know,
So I'm just
I don't think
wondering.
there's a problem there.
Right, no, I'm just wondering about the other guy that we have, because we have another musical performer. So I'm just wondering if
And that
they,
is the,
the highwayman
Highwayman?
guy. Yeah,
I don't know, I've seen,
Well, they can't-
I
they're
have
not gonna-
actually seen that
The layout.
some of the Green Sisters have performed with the Highwayman. I'm saying that, I think they're familiar with each other.
Okay.
oh,
But
okay.
I will just check with, and make sure there's not
I
a
mean, maybe
conflict.
they're all performing together.
No, I think it's probably separate, but I don't think I don't think there would be a problem, but I would ask.
Right, I just want to make
That's something
sure
I
that
could
like
do.
the highwayman guy gets
Equal billing.
Right.
Yeah, a space,
Okay.
because I'm sure locally, the crop dusters are very good, and everybody would probably gravitate to them quicker than the other guy.
They may just, one's on the stage, one's on, because the crop dusters can't be up there all the time.
No.
So they may just,
I think that, but I don't think there's a problem, but I will make sure that
I was just curious. And are they going to have the animals there?
It's
there will
supposed
be
to,
animals
yeah.
at field day, but I don't know what.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Joyce again, with the
Right, oh yeah,
place in Bolton, I guess.
right.
I just
Exotic animals.
recalled it at our last meeting, Joyce did mention that the animals will be back.
The animals are coming.
So, I don't,
Right.
it might have been the weather kept them away last time or something. Was it I don't know, were they doing reptiles or something and it was too cold or something?
There's a reptile group that's local.
Yeah, they usually.
They were at field day.
Yes, they were at field day.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
There
Excuse me.
was something, but they bailed very late,
Yes.
because they were gonna be there and then they weren't.
I thought it was a weather thing or something, but it could have been anything.
Yeah, there's something to do with the weather where they weren't going to bring them out. Yeah.
Anyways, so are we all set?
I think so. Do I get a crown or a Dakota badge or something?